Hey, what's going on? Kerry Sullivan, day number 4 of the 99-day challenge. And I'm going to share with you something that's helped me tremendously. And if you apply this, it'll help you in huge, huge, huge ways. And it's called the Big Four. One of the interesting things that's happened to me over the years is that I've been recruited multiple times by special forces groups within the U.S. military. And specifically, the Navy SEALs have approached me more than once. And I was talking to a Navy SEAL recently, and he said, yeah, well, the reason for that is because one, you have an education, a college education, which shows you're able to stick with something and get it done. And number two, you have an athletic background that we like, and they get higher rates of being able to get through our training. Specifically, I've wrestled and I've done water polo. And look, that's by no means to say I could get through that training. I've got the utmost respect for those people, and I'm not, at the end of the day, I don't know if I could get through it or not because I haven't done it. So, anyway, one of the things is I've always studied those guys. And the reason I've studied those guys is because they're super good at getting things done under high stress situations where the implications for them getting things done are huge. Lives are on the line among all kinds of other things out there. So, one of the things is that within their training, there's a pool training that they do, and in one of these specific pool trainings that they do, that the dropout rates were really high, and they still are really high. But what would happen was they would get to this pool training, and there would be some cadets where they thought they would be really good Navy SEALs, but they'd get to this training, they'd freak out, and they'd fail. And what this pool training is you have your scuba tanks on, right? And there's other divers that come in there. They're going to rip off your masks, and they're going to mess with you. They're going to hit you. They're going to turn your tanks off. They're going to take your air tanks apart. They're going to tangle your air tubes, everything like that, and you have to deal with it, right? You have to fix the situation and deal with it. And so they were getting really high dropout rates there. And one of the things is, one of the basic things within humans is if you're not able to breathe, your brain naturally starts freaking out, right? And it's really hard to override that fear. So one of the things that they do within Navy SEAL training and within all these special ops groups is they teach you how to deal with fear and stress so you can actually get things done. And so, they're like, okay, how can we help some of these guys get through better and have a higher success rate in getting through this training? And so what they developed is what they call the Big Four. And it's interesting because I find that I was actually doing the Big Four within my athletic training, and I didn't realize it. And I've got to a fairly high level within my athletics. I've been racing professionally as a triathlete for the past 4 years. And again, I'm not like the top of the heap in that at all. I'm a middle of the pack guy within the professional level, but these things have helped me for sure. And once I conceptualized them, right? Once I conceptualized what these Big Four were, it really helped me a lot because it gave me a solid framework. Even though I was doing these things, it really helped me a lot. And you can apply this to anything. And it's helped me a lot in business too, as I'm a sales manager as well. So number one of the Big Four is goal setting. So what goal setting specifically allows you to do in high stakes, high stress situations? It allows you to keep your focus, right? So when I'm racing, specifically, it can hurt a lot. And what can happen is when you start overriding and you start thinking how much it hurts, it makes things a lot harder to get things done. And also in really stressful situations with SEALs in combat, the same thing. You can get really distracted easily. So if you have that one goal that you're focusing in on, it's easier to get things done. So specifically when I'm racing, things start hurting, I start just focusing on technique. That's it. Or I focus on a landmark. Maybe there's a stop sign or a telephone pole. I focus on getting to that as fast as possible and just focusing on nothing but that. I'm not thinking about anybody else or anything else. It's just that. And you just break things down into little micro goals within that race, for me, and within that race or within life or getting to a bigger goal. And when you have that focus, it allows you to keep all the other BS out of the way if you just keep that one laser focus like that. So number two of the Big Four is mental rehearsal, and that's just visualization. So what they found with the Navy SEALs is when they get into that pool situation, they're getting their tanks all messed with and everything else, is that when they've rehearsed that in their mind, what to do in specific situations, okay, my tanks are off. What do I do? And they rehearse that in their mind. And it's the same thing I found again with athletics. Just like, okay, this is what's going to happen in this situation. I know at this part of the course, there's going to be this kind of turn, or it's likely that at this time in the race, there's going to be this kind of situation playing out. And when you have that mental rehearsal going on, you're able to get things done at a higher level. They've actually found as well within athletics, when you go out there, they've taken basketball players, and they have basketball players practice, taking free throw shots, right? And they had one group who just went out every day and practiced free throw shots, and they had another group who just did it through visualization, and they practiced hitting shot after shot after shot and making it every time. The group that practiced it, doing it mentally, after a few weeks, when they put them in the actual situation to see which group was going to perform better in the given situation, the group who rehearsed doing it in their mind to perfection had a higher success rate in actually executing the free throw shots when they came to test them at the end than the group that was actually practicing in real life. Right? So the visual practice and everything like that, is really, really important in terms of helping you get through these high stress situations and getting to your goals a lot faster. Number 3 is self-talk, all right? So self-talk is vital. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, God, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. This is horrible, and you're just beating on yourself. I'm not good enough and whatever. You're not going to get through it. I can tell you that from experience, a few of my worst races were because that was happening. And the common element in those races was the cold. It was dumping rain. It was 45, 47 degrees out. You start off in some cold water to begin with, and I got on the bike in my race, and all I was thinking the whole time was, I hope I get a flat so this will all end. I'm just so cold. Or maybe if I turned around here, it would be, I could just turn around here, go back and get warm or whatever. And I finished those races, but they were not good results at all. And a large part of that was because I had that negative loop going through my head. I was just thinking of ways that I could drop out, and so those races never went good for me. And lastly is number 4 is arousal control. So when you're in really high stress situations, the stakes are high, and you can't breathe like the Navy SEALs, what happens is you automatically start freaking out, and you have these emotions, right? And the people who are really successful in anything in life know how to control these things, all right? So, and the way you control these specifically, your emotions specifically, is through breathing, okay? So, in triathlon, a lot of the time in the beginning of the race, they often call it the washing machine. It's a lot of arms flailing everywhere. You get hit. People are pushing you under the water. You're going to swallow water and everything like that. And what happens is a lot of people will start to panic, all right? And they start freaking out. One of the things that happens is your breathing contracts, right? And what happens when you start contracting your breathing and you're in high stress situations and your breathing increases really rapidly is you don't get as much oxygen to your brain. Okay, and again, when you don't have as much oxygen to your brain, you start kind of freaking out a little bit, whether you subconsciously know it or not, depending on the situation you're in. So when you can control your breathing, specifically on the breathing out, so it's really that'll allow you to take more oxygen in. You get more oxygen into your brain. You're able to deal with things a lot better, and you're able to stay calm. That's one of the ways you can deal with that stress a lot better, okay? And one of the things I've used personally is a tool over the years called a Breathe Strong. Or I think it's a Breathe Strong, but basically it's a breathing tool that's really helped me to do diaphragm exercises to control my breathing, right? And it's worked really, really well for me. So when I'm in those really high stress situations within athletics and I'm breathing really hard and pushing it really hard, I really just focusing on that breathing, and it helps a real lot. It's helped me a real lot, and it's helped the Navy SEALs guys a real lot too. So those big 4, you use those big 4, it's going to help you a lot. It's helped me a lot within my athletic ability, and it helps the Navy SEALs get through as well. So they actually found that when the Navy SEALs were getting to that training where I was talking about, and they're messing with them with the tanks and everything like that, a quarter of the people were getting through. Okay, when they implemented these big 4, 1/3 of the people were getting through. So it was definitely an increase in those people getting through. And again, it's something I was doing in my athletics. But once I have learn this specifically on this kind of this level and have an exact list. It's really helped me take things even further within all areas of my life, and I think it's something that can really help you as well. So if you like to share the big four, and the big four again is 1, goal setting. Number 2, mental rehearsal. Number 3 is self-talk, positive self-talk. And number 4 is arousal control. Okay. And if you like this, feel free to share it. If you get any comments, feel free to leave those or any questions or anything like that. And that's it. That's day number 4 in the books, I should say. And in honor of day number 4, I did the big 4 with Navy SEALs. Peace and love, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.